Jeez.
Hey, I think we're live now. All right. Yeah,
We are live.
we are live. Um, Everybody who's joining us, thank you. This is an impromptu live stream based on a lot of things that have been happening over the last 48 hours or so. So I'm joined here by our, I guess, our professor in crime, Pat Ackerman, who you guys have saw last week on our two-part series, kind of breaking down VGX and Voyager. I am joined by the ever famous, more famous than Richard Hart, Rob from Digital Asset News.
Easy. I'll take it.
And of course, my cohort in crime over at Trade the Chain, our crypto analyst, CJ from marketrebellion.com. So, I mean, guys, a lot has happened. I mean, this has actually been a really crazy, it's been a crazy 48 hours. It's been a crazy week, but it's also been a crazy month. I mean, first, let's talk about the price action that's happened. Before we got on, Rob was noting what the price was at the beginning of January. And then we all woke up this morning to a plus $2 price. And I don't know if CJ's visual handy right now on the mix, but we'll get to the charts as well. But let's discuss the price, Rob. Or Rob is the wrong person to go to there.
Yeah, not me.
CJ.
Yeah,
you're on mute. This live stream never works out.
And I will be happy to bring that up.
All right, let me do that. All right, you're good to go, bud.
All right. Look at that candle. That's not a candle. That is like a football goalpost. Look at that.
So, and I want to hear a lot more from Pat, because what he was saying before the stream from a fundamental perspective is very interesting too. How VGX was kind of just a steal below $1. Now we've kind of formed the support levels tentatively at about $2 and $2.12. But we know there's likely going to be fundamental news continuing with this loyalty program. I continue to hold VGX. It's pretty unprecedented price action. I keep repeating this word all week, but it's true. And so.
Yeah, I think I would add, CJ, is, Voyager should have never really been under $1 like it was. They went from buying Ethos and then didn't really have a good use case for it yet as it was growing the platform. And then it kind of settled down around 2 cents. And then we saw this kind of rise into the 25-cent range, consolidate back down to prior to the news of the loyalty program coming back out. And then it exploded higher, right? And I think it's really taken people back, but it never really should have been that low ever. You at one point it was down to under a $10 million market cap, which was just, it's insane for a real company, a real product, especially a public company like Voyager is. And so I think it's caught everybody by surprise, but it never really should have been that low, especially around that dollar marks really have been where it should stabilize, where it should have been for the longest time. And so now we're seeing this huge rise from 29 cents in early January till now over $2, and everybody's like, what's going on? This has pump and dump written all over it, when there's real fundamentals behind this. And that's what people are forgetting about this token.
I thought the price action that was really interesting was that it held up at about 170 throughout the outage yesterday, when North America couldn't even participate. But now, last night, once we went back up, and then this morning, prices went all the way to 285 and is holding strong above $2 with all that North American volume coming in. So very awesome to see.
Yeah, I think you also noticed yesterday, CJ, some big buy orders towards the end of the U.S. night, which is probably the Asia morning. 2 days ago, there was $1.5 million and a $2.5 million, or 1.5 million and 2.5 million token buys, market buys that had that big wick. And then last night there was another 800,000 or so a market buy about the same time. Again, kind of that Asia morning on Binance, which just cleared the order books. And then, as Voyager came back online last night, it was instant buys. And that was even before the Asia buy that happened as well. And it was just the amount of volume was 5 times what it was prior to Voyager coming back online. So there's obviously pent-up demand for the token. We know the use case is on the Voyager platform, which makes a ton of sense. And so I think we'll continue to see the price rise. And up until the loyalty program comes out, people it's a supply and demand issue more than it is anything else right now.
And all of those new customers, they have a $5,000 limit in which is an instant deposit. And so all those 8,000 customers have not even really fully jumped in the pool yet, so to speak.
Agreed.
Yeah. Just like Too Short said, get in where you fit in. If you can make that 5,000, make sure that you're buying the right thing, whatever that is. And I will say this, there was one mistake that I did with Voyager. And that is when I did my price prediction, I should have never done that price prediction. That video for Voyager, I should have bought a ton first and then done the actual price prediction and then just go away, because I dollar cost average. So like all I've been doing is just buying like, $20-25 per day or every 2 days. Actually right now it's every day. And I just see the price go like this to this to this. And it's good to see. But what was not good to see, I don't know if we should segue to this already, but what the heck happened with the big outage yesterday? That's the big thing that everybody wants to ask. And that's like on my Twitter account, it's like, what the heck's going on? Rob, you told us this is better than Coinbase. This is worse than Coinbase. This is worse than Robinhood. It's the worst thing of all time. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't go that route. But here we are. I mean, it's back up, but what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of, we haven't spoken to Steve yet since the issue, and I think he's coming on Rob's channel tomorrow. Now, I know we originally all said today, but he's tired, man. The guy's been working nonstop. But I think what's been happening is, they had a point of entry failure. There was they had 180,000 people come and try to sign up at Voyager at one time compared to 1,800 the day before. I know everybody is like, hey, they should have been prepared. Well, they were. They have business analysts that prepare for this stuff. Their CIO prepares for this stuff. But the thing is that surge was way out of the ballpark of expectations on a worst case scenario. And I think there's a big correlation. This isn't just a Voyager problem. This is an all over the crypto street problem. I think there was a very big transference from what happened on the GameStop and Wall Street Bet side to the crypto side. And I say this, pretty certainly. I think there's a lot of people that came over from Wall Street Bets or who were watching that and what went down with GameStop and decided to get into crypto markets all at once. You had a bunch of things from forming a perfect storm. You had the GameStop debacle. You had Doge going through the roof at astronomical speeds. And then all of a sudden you had those people on the traditional side going, wait, I got to get into crypto because gamblers are degenerates. That's how we said it yesterday. Everybody is looking for the great bet. I'm one included. I'll admit it. So when they saw Doge and they'd already won on the GameStop stuff, they were like, let's go to crypto and let's try there. And all of a sudden you had this flux. And again, it wasn't just Voyager. We've had Kraken go down. We've had Binance go down. So I think right now what's happening is, and I gave this opinion yesterday, I think they're bifurcating basically their front end and back end. So, Voyager is an order router. It's a broker. So it's steering all those orders that are executed to other exchanges and their matching engines. What I think that they need to do if this isn't what they're solving is separating the front end customer signups and enrollments with the back end order routing mechanism. So that way, if one goes down, the other it's not systemic to the rest of the area. But what I will say in closing is that to Rob's viewer's point, who said, hey, Rob, this sucks like Coinbase, Kraken, all that. It wasn't a matching engine failure. It can never be a matching engine failure because they're a broker. And so that being the worst type of failure will never happen here.
Yeah. And then Pat, you told me something interesting about when the app came up. You said there's a guardian at the very beginning. So they're going to put new users in queue. Is that what
That's
you were
what
saying?
appeared. So this, the emails and some of the pictures I saw online last night, and information that was coming out, it seems like some people were getting queued up on the front end, coming into the app, which is exactly what we'd want to see, right? To what Alex just talked about. If you're kind of putting a little bit of a guardian as people come in and queuing them up and bringing them in as capacities there, and then you leave the existing account holders, people that can still access and use the app, and so like that's a good thing. Now, obviously, if I'm a new user and I'm coming in and I get a thing that says you can't download it, or I think they're updating the messaging that said, you're in queue and you're on a wait list and you'll get added in. So that's not a great message, but also it's kind of a way to protect the platform of people that are using it versus everybody being impacted by it. So.
Yeah, I think also, Pat, to that point, we're going to go back a little ways to 2017 when I had hedge funds. It was taking 90 days to open up accounts because of the mass influx at the end of 2017.
Wow.
Oh, that was a huge problem back then. But to now, basically what you're saying is saying, hey, we need to safeguard this. And I think, listen, you're going to have to wait a little bit about crypto. Don't think about getting into crypto and trading it an hour later with an open account.
It probably saved a bunch of people from buying Doge when it was at 7 cents, when it then all of a sudden came back to 5 cents. Honestly, I mean, I saw some people upset about it, but it probably saved the money.
People are going to hate me, but this comment came up earlier in a group, and it was like, oh my God, I've probably lost a ton of money, or people have lost a ton of money from not being able to trade. I said, no, I said quite the opposite. Everybody probably saved a ton of money from making stupid trades.
Right. Yeah. But on the flip side of that, there have been some people in my videos, and they're like, hey, this is what's going on. We had a bunch of Doge and I want to sell Doge at whatever. And they couldn't do it.
And that's fair. That's fair too, Rob. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things. But I remember back in 2017, do you guys remember when Binance shut it all down? So you could not get a new account of Binance. You couldn't get a new account of Coinbase. And then also there were people selling their Binance accounts on different like platforms, whatever. But there was no money into it. It was all just you just buy the account and that's it.
Yeah,
are you selling your Voyager account, Rob?
Absolutely not.
In all seriousness, though, I do think these reflections on 2017 are very important because they show how the space and its infrastructure has improved since then. A lot of capital has come into the collective cryptocurrency market since then, and when 100,000 customers show up on your door because Robinhood is a black swan event and a mass exodus occurs, then I was very impressed in Voyager's ability to pivot and ultimately take on all of those new customers. We have a lot of new people joining the space, some more from traditional finance who have always used, very credible retail brokers like Interactive Brokers and things like that who have never gone down. And all I can say is that this is an emerging market and the infrastructure is still getting built out. We're experiencing a lot of mania. But all I can say is the infrastructure used to be so worse. Yeah. It has improved and it will continue to do so.
And to your point, Cedar, first of all, picks and shovels. Picks and shovels are the future of, I love saying that, are the future of crypto and the ecosystem moving forward and how solidly that infrastructure gets built. But, hey, you talk about, them spending time to fix it and then reverting back to, hey, you remember the guys over at TD and all those traditional firms. Don't forget, Steve was CEO of E-Trade Professional Trading, okay? Prior to that, he was CEO and founder of Lightspeed Financial, a very famous traditional high-frequency shop on Wall Street. He knows how these conditions on the infrastructure should be. My guess, again, and everything I say is a guess because I don't work for the company. I don't get paid by the company. Although Rob may, I don't know. No, I'm just joking.
Come on, you shill.
No, but there was a length of outage here that's happened, and a lot of people were really getting upset. And I get it, to Pat and Rob's point about not being able to sell a Doge order when they wanted to. The thing is, it wasn't about patching up a problem and opening up as quick as they can. It was an issue of finding the problem, fixing it, and if that meant replacing a system or greatly altering it so that it would be stronger in the end, and it took more hours to do, that's what they were going to do rather than just peel off a Band-Aid and put it on.
Yeah. So here's a question for everybody. Would you rather have this issue come up right now at the very beginning, or would you rather have this come up when we're going parabolic, just like in 2017 December? Which one would you have? I
think right now is what you want. And even, as we get into these other markets like Canada and Europe, when you even get a bigger footprint, it's more important than it happened now. You wouldn't want it happening as all of a sudden a bunch of, a million people from Europe all of a sudden want to sign up at the same time as well, right? So I think now is really critical. And I think it's fair criticism, right? Rob, you had some fair criticism, down is down. And I think it's fair to criticize that, right? It's a factual statement. Some people were hurt by this. Some people, it probably saved them some money as well. But it's a fair criticism. I think it's really about how do they protect themselves in the future. I feel like they made the right steps to make it stable for the future. And I think that's critical.
Yeah, agreed. It's really imperative. And Rob, to answer that question, I would say I would rather have it happen now at $2.60 than when my Voyager is worth $50.
I can see that. I'll take $50. It's a good price prediction. You heard it here first, folks. Alex said it's going to $50 this year. It's guaranteed.
I love it.
So there's another question I have, though, is that I just took a look at Robinhood, the actual users they have. In 2020, it was, let me make sure I have this correct, 13 million users. So obviously they're not all coming here, but let's just say that they start to trickle in more and more, and there's a big uptick, especially as they start to hear about cryptocurrency, especially as they start to hear about the actual corruption that is going on with what just happened with GameStop, on top of all the other ones that they're restricting. So when I have Steve on, my question is this: how are you guys doing this specifically to make sure that you can make sure that these people come in, they get onboarded, and they have a positive experience and they stick around? Because nobody wants these people to come in and be like, you know what, I was in queue for a week or 2 weeks and I missed a huge opportunity. So that would be my question for Steve. I don't know if there's any other questions you guys got for him, but
I think that's a fair question again, Rob. But here's my alternative question to that I would ask as well: is it critical that they come in and there's some challenges infrastructure-wise getting them pulled in the platform, or is it more of an issue of everybody buying Dogecoin and it goes up 1,000%, comes back down 1,000%? Which is a bigger issue? And I think there's a broader education piece that needs to happen with people coming from Robinhood in the crypto space. Like, what are you buying? And that's some of what we talk about with Voyager, Celsius, and some of these other ones, because Doge is Doge, and there's a billion plus tokens out there, and there's a lot of people pump that up and it's come back down again. What's the utility of it? What can you do with it? It's that conversation again. I wonder if that's a more pertinent conversation to have than some of the infrastructure things that have happened. I'm just curious on your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, when we talk fundamentals, I would say Doge has got strong fundamentals, clearly. It's been around. It is the premier meme coin. None other coin does serve that use case.
Yeah, not only that, but does anybody hate Doge? Like, I mean, you'll have like the XRP army. Yeah, the XRP army will be like XRP all day long. The Chainlink Marines are like, you guys suck, da da da. But if anybody comes in the conversations like, how about Doge? Everyone's like, Doge. And nobody gets pissed off. It's amazing to me, but that's just how it is.
True. But Pat, let's go back to, what we discussed at the beginning of last week, which was, the company, the customers, how the intersect is between derived value to that expansion. You mentioned at the beginning of the show that it was cheap below $1. Now, if we're talking about 180,000 new users who just stepped up to the patio here, how does that change? Are we talking about the price influx of VGX being almost, let's say, in line with what 180,000 new users would look like? Or are we beginning to see that rationale, or is this just hype right now?
Yes. So I did look at the numbers before the show because I was just curious on where we are. At 100,000 funded accounts at a 50% token efficiency, it's about 252, which is kind of like where we are right now, which yep. I was surprised that it was right at the same number at a 50% token utility. Now, if it's, let's say, 115 or 125, then your token utility is actually a lot lower at 250. You're actually closer to 350 or 450, depending on what you're at for funded accounts. So from my standpoint, depending on how much they captured that 180,000, again, a lot of people not being able to get in the front door and what the impact of that was, and maybe a little bit of trust issues with people coming forward. We could actually easily be at that 400,000 account number here pretty soon, right? If you really think about one day of 180,000, and what does that mean for the fundamentals of it? Now, again, the loyalty program matters. So when that comes out, we can kind of price that in and figure out what the token efficiency going to look like. But just right now, looking at the numbers, 252 was at 100,000, 50% token utility, which is kind of where we are right now. So, and I would expect they actually probably captured more than that, and probably even getting more accounts under management of existing customers bringing more funds in as well. So.
Hey, Pat, real quick, can you, for people who are new, can you talk to them about what the video that we did about Metcalfe's Law and token utility, just like a brief overview, so they're like, what the heck?
Before he starts, I do want to say what he says. It does make sense. I see where the alignment is. I also want to say the token price has gone up 7 cents since he started talking. So keep going, Pat.
Very good. So as we talk about fundamentals and value for investing for tokenomics, it's that user growth drives, and the network of the users drive the price of the token or the security or whatever it is. So we use Metcalfe's Law, which is really a mathematical formula of taking every user squared, which is saying that every user coming on benefits others, and as the community grows, the larger the network, the larger potential of the price can happen. Token efficiency is actually the relationship between the utility, what you can do with the token, and the supply that exists relative to the number of users. And it's really the slope and the representation of the network and how fast it grows relative to the price. So that's just a really quick kind of high level understanding or explanation of what it is. There's further explanation in my token value investing article that's out there. You can kind of deep dive into that, but that's the crux of it.
Yeah, and you guys, all those, if you didn't watch those 2 episodes, definitely go back. They were released Monday and Tuesday of last week. CJ, Rob, and Pat and myself were on it, and all his links to all his research is down in the description. So go check that out for sure. Wow, this is I have a lot of screens going with a lot of noise happening. I mean, this is pretty good. Oh, look, Rob.
I just sent you a screenshot of something. I don't know if you want to talk about this. So this was interesting because I did a video today. I just go do the daily market, what's going on. Bitcoin's up or down a little bit, Ethereum's up a little bit. But then as I noticed on the 4th position, XRP was at 40 cents, which is a pretty good pump. And I was like, that's weird because we were just hovering around a quarter, which kills my joke. XRP is pegged to the quarter. Now I can't say that. That's okay. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And then I was in the Twitterverse, which I have to tell you, as far as like news and everything else, I firmly believe that news moves the market and sentiment. And the best place to get news right now is on Twitter. Like my show, I used to get it from like Bitcoin.com and Daily Hodl, and now I just don't even deal with those guys. I just go to Twitter and everything's right there. So I was looking at this.
Well, hit up the screenshot, Rob. Do you want to? Yeah.
So this is what I saw.
I know there's been rumors that they won their case, but
well, first of all, the pump was on that. There was a lot of false rumors that they won their case going around Reddit and a couple other areas.
Yeah, there's a couple of things with that, but I want to talk. This is the big thing, because I was like, just like what Wall Street Bets did with GameStop. This is what it looks like is going on with XRP. And if that's what's going on with XRP, it makes total sense. And I verified it from a reliable source. Our man, Wen Mullet, verified this.
Love Wen.
Wen Mullet. So I was like, okay, well, this is legit then. So this has been making the rounds, and I'm like, this could be part of the reason. So, I mean, the SEC case is the SEC case. There was a new Florida case that just got brought by a individual investor, a class action lawsuit. And it's pretty funny. He's suing Ripple because he bought $95 and it went down to $45. So he's suing them in Florida court, but it's not about that. It's about the actual class action when it comes in. So that's one thing. But this thing right here, could this be the reason for the XRP pump?
I will tell you, Rob, I'll tell you what's interesting. And first of all, this graphical is really interesting. Keep this up for a minute so people really get to digest it. But also on top of that, I've gotten a handful of emails from a few from family office, one from an institution, another one from a hedge fund, asking if we could sell them XRP.
What?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you those redacted notes to put on your show, because I was astounded. It's like, wait, why is it? Am I being spoofed? Should I answer these?
So hold on, Alex. Before we go on, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. We are just here to discuss about the markets. I'm gonna steal CJ's lines. So just so you know, I'm not telling you guys to invest in anything. This is just what we see.
Don't listen to any of us, especially me.
Especially me. Yeah.
I wanna say one thing though. When an asset should die and it doesn't, take note. That's one of the famous lines from George Soros, and then Ari Paul has said it a bunch. Because in crypto, if you think about Bitcoin, in 2013, Bitcoin should have died by all, reasonable metrics. The Silk Road was shut down. We had the Mt. Gox exchange. Bitcoin halved in price. It was not. There was a perfectly good reason to believe that all the sentiment was done and Bitcoin had been killed, but it wasn't, and it came back, of course.
Yeah.
So,
See, the best examples of that are from the traditional market last year with the Robinhood traders, Hertz and Chesapeake Energy. I mean, seriously, Hertz is in bankruptcy, about to go forward and go through liquidation court, and they pumped up the price like 200 and something %. And then Chesapeake Energy, which has billions of dollars in debt, was about to be broken apart for wrenches and screws, and it was pumped another 300%. So, I mean, when something is about to die, don't expect it. Our XRP is one of those examples for sure. That'll never happen to Voyager.
and crypto is even different, right? Because you don't need a company backing it. We have tons of these so-called, ghost coins like Ethereum Classic that kind of just stick around. Doge is one of those.
It is. They got a huge market cap, billions. Is it 9 billion for Doge?
Is that 9 billion for Doge?
I thought it was billion. Yeah, it was in the billion. I thought.
I try
I
not
have
to
to look it up. I need to verify that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, at one point, remember, Doge was at number 7. Number 7.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And of course, that's
Yeah.
when Voyager went down and wanted to sell it. I couldn't sell it. So that's it.
So Pat, let me ask you this. And if we are, listen, Rob, and again, not financial advice, and we're all a bunch of clowns and at home, our wives will tell you. If Rob's $30 and my $50 and Rob's revised $40, if we hit those values on VGX, what are we talking about realistic market cap to growth, with Voyager? Do the two coincide at all on any sort of reasonable explanational level?
I mean, I think they do, right? If again, talk about number of users, and we had that. I had that chart out there with the different lines and the token efficiencies, and at 450,000, I think it's the largest I have on that graph there. Which who knows, we might hit that Q1 depending on if we keep getting this mass exodus out of Robinhood. But it's plausible, right? Again, goes back to utility and the number of people holding it, and some supply and demand that goes into it. But over time, there's going to be significant value for holding that token in the platform of Voyager that you're going to get benefit for. And there's only so many of them, and that's part of the value proposition and the reason why the network grows. It becomes more valuable to people to own it. So it's definitely realistic. Again, you could see things longer term. Again, we're only in January. We were 29 cents in January. Should never been that low. That's a different conversation. But we talked about that earlier. But we could be a lot higher. And again, as there's interest paid out on it, right? There's the new token swap that's been proposed. That's going to be 7% interest. I think that's been confirmed. So there's going to be a reason to come here for price appreciation and stick around for the interest. And so I know that there was a conversation on yesterday's show with Monty and Ryan in CJ around what price would you be your out point, right? And I think we started down that conversation, but you got to remember there's a longer term value of holding this, and so I just think there's value in holding it longer term because of the platform and the way you're gonna be able to use it.
Yeah.
And everyone's personal risk and personal financial system or situation is slightly different. So just what I would say personally, what I consider wise is just if we do get to those levels, just maybe a little diversification is all.
Sure. And that's a smart investor side, right? Something to consider. It's just one thing I would say is as the market matures and we see crypto assets as something as an investable product and there's truly value there, then why would we have these conversations of what's my out point, right? It's not about holding the bag. And even Alex, you mentioned about holding the bag. I think we need to have a real conversation around what does value mean in the crypto space. It's not just a get quick rich scheme. There's value being provided there, and there's future products to be used around it. So that's the only pushback I think I'd put to you guys. So
Yeah, I would like to delve into that a little bit deeper, because there is one thing that it really gets frustrating when you're in this market, and you guys are better at this than me. CJ definitely is about taking profits. And then of course it is like an ugly word to talk about sometimes in some circles, like don't take profits, you have weak hands. It's not weak hands, you're taking profits. Don't you understand that? And of course, this is my money, not your money. And I have to do what's best for my family. So when we start to talk about what is the actual value of each particular token and what does it actually provide, and I think it opens up for a whole new conversation. And Pat had a good point. He said, hey, he goes, why do you invest into that? And what does it do? And it was on one of the shows, and I was like, yeah, it's true. What does it do? A lot of these things are just speculation. But if we take a look at like a Binance coin, like a Celsius, like a Voyager, then we can see like there's actual real utility. And I don't know who said it. It was one of us. It wasn't me. I'm not that smart. But somebody said, can you imagine what would happen if the Voyager token is used for a swap between cryptocurrencies and actual stocks? You can take a Ethereum and get Tesla and do a direct swap to swap. And you can just X out the Robinhoods and the TD Ameritrades, especially right now. If that happens, I mean, that token of my price prediction of $30.
First of all, Rob, the XRP chart is starting to burn my eyes.
Sorry about that. It is, sorry, it is very colorful. So shout out to all the XRP army. That could be all about you. I'm interested to see what'll happen.
Watch it go to like $3 and just us all be dumbfounded.
Yeah,
I would love for that.
Agreed.
I don't own any XRP, but just for the beauty of markets.
Beauty of markets.
Agreed.
All right. Well, guys, sorry about this. I got to take off early. I got to go do some things, but thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. And everybody who's still watching, we're going to still try to get Steve on the show today. But even if he was on today, I would probably have aired the video tomorrow. If he comes on tomorrow, it'll be early, but I'll still air it tomorrow. And we're going to talk about these things that we just talked about. So thanks everybody for giving me good
Can't
suggestions.
wait.
Awesome.
Rob,
guys,
thank you, sir. All right,
Bye.
cool. The one of the things we're 267. I see this. I really do honestly believe with the current growth that we just saw knocking on the door to where we are going into next week, that we could see 3, 4, 5 based on user subscribers and how long, how quickly they can get them up. So I'm excited about that. Back to the chart here to give everybody one last price look. $2.67.5 is where we're at. This thing has it's been on fire over the last 48 hours and particularly, but the month of January as well. A lot of new millionaires have been minted. And I'm really excited. I hope it's changed a lot of people's lives in the positive. There's a lot of substance behind this token's value and the company's value and the team's value for sure. And I just give plug, go read Pat Ackerman's stuff. I will plug him on Twitter till the day is long and done. He really has spent time and brain power on those reports. Again, they're in the descriptions of the video, 2-part video series we put out at the beginning of the week. CJ, go to marketrebellion.com, check out their crypto room, of course, tradethechain.com as well. But guys, we'll be on with Steve on Rob's Steve Ehrlich show to talk about exactly from the horse's mouth what went on and what they're going to do. And then lastly, I will say, if you aren't subscribed to the channel and you are interested in what we're talking about, you're going to want to watch next week as we have a live stream, a special live stream. That's all I can say. Hang on to your handlebars, guys, and watch the honey holes, as CJ likes to say. Pat, thank you for joining us. CJ, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it, guys.